guys, today I'm bringing something special to you. I will be showing you 30 Photoshop shortcuts that will change your life for good. Like, this is going to make your work so efficient. You become faster, you become Photoshop will become easier for you. So we're just going to delve right into it. Working with Photoshop can be quite time consuming. See, whether you're a beginner or an advanced editor, this can actually be time consuming. That's why we're going to be covering these shortcuts that's going to make your life easier, that's going to make Photoshop simpler and faster, and you become more efficient as an editor. So we're going to start with the simple shortcuts, and then we delve into more advanced ones. But even those advanced ones are still very simple, right? Now note, if you are not used to using keyboard shortcuts with Photoshop, this might seem a bit cumbersome at the start, but I can tell you, learning this is going to help you a lot. It's like doing something that's going to help you in a very long term. Now, in this particular tutorial, I'm going to be showing you the shortcuts that I use for my own work to make my work easier and faster. At the end, I'm going to give you a special one that's going to help you a whole lot with every other shortcut I'm going to show you in this tutorial. So stay with me to the end. So I'm going to start with the hand tool. This is the shortcut is H. Press H on your keyboard to get to the hand tool, and then the hand tool lets you pan around a zoomed in image. You use it to check for blemishes, evaluate sharpness, move from one end of the photo to the other. So you can actually check out for anything. If you zoom your image, you can press H to pan around your image. The next is going to be the zoom tool, Z. It's going to be Z for going to the zoom tool to zoom in or zoom out. Of course, a sub shortcut is going to be Alt. To zoom in, you just click. To zoom out, hold down Alt, and then you begin to zoom out, right? Of course, I'm going to go over to H again to pan around to bring it back. The next one is going to be still on the zoom tool, Control plus or Control minus. Repeatedly tapping plus and minus key on Photoshop while holding Control will zoom in or zoom out. So let's hold Control minus, Control plus, and all of that to zoom in or zoom out very quickly. And the beautiful thing about this tool is that you can do this no matter the tool you are on. So even if you're on the move tool, you can hold Control minus, Control plus to zoom in at any point in time. Next one is going to be fit to screen, and how you do that with Control or Command 0. So let's say you zoom in, right? You zoom out like this, and you want to fit it to screen. You do Control 0, and you bring it back to the screen. The next one is going to be how to cycle through screen mode with F. So with F, but just by hitting F on your keyboard, you will cycle through different screen mode to full screen, with panels, with just like that. So if you want to show full screen, this is it. Just press F again to come back to normal. The next one is going to be undo an edit that you have done. So let's say you did something and you want to undo it. Of course, that's simple. Control Z, right? Just press Control Z to undo what you've done. So if you drew a polygon and you want to remove it, then you want to remove the edits that you've done, you do Control Z and it goes. Next, you have the tab key. This is used to show or hide palettes. So if your panels, you want to hide some of your panels, just hit the tab key. They will be hidden. They are still there. For example, if you take your mouse, they will still come out. When you remove your mouse, they will go. But you use the tab key to switch to that mode. Tab key again to bring it back. Next, we have B. B is for the brush tool. So just hit B to go to the brush tool. The brush tool lets you dodge and burn, add artificial color, and mask out edits. You can use it whenever you need to selectively adjust a part of your photo. That's just with the brush tool. While you're on the brush tool, you can switch between crosshairs and the normal brush circle by hitting caps lock. So this is your brush, right? So if you want to get a more precise selection, you can hit caps lock to switch to crosshairs. So with this now, you can still draw your brush, but you can be more precise about where you are placing your brush. So to switch back to the normal brush, you can still hit caps lock again. Next is the bracket key. the left bracket key. When working with brush tool, you often need to get into tighter spots. Things like you want to zoom in and touch one particular spot in your work. You can use the left bracket key to reduce the size of your brush. And next is going to be the right bracket key. You guessed right. That is to increase the size of the brush. Next also is going to be the shift plus left bracket key. That is going to be to reduce the softness, the hardness of your brush. You click it to reduce it. If you look as we do that, you will notice that this is reducing. The next one is going to be to increase the brush softness. You guess right again. Shift right bracket. Next is going to be the X key. The X key is used to switch between the foreground and the background color. So down here, when you hit the X key, it just switches the foreground and background color. Next would be still on the foreground and background color. If you want to reset the foreground and background color, use the D key. D, just by hitting D on the keyboard, you reset everything to normal. So let me assume that you've changed your foreground color to red and you've changed the background color to maybe whatever, the background color to, let's say, this, and you want to reset it to normal. Just press D on the keyboard and everything resets back to normal. Next is how to adjust opacity, right? You can use the number 0, 1 to 10. So any tool that requires opacity, for example, the brush that we are on, if you want to reduce opacity, okay, 0 to 9 helps you adjust your opacity. So if I press 0, so if you press 3, 3 is equivalent to 30, as you can see from up here. You pressed 7 is equivalent to 70, 9 equivalent to 90, and 0 is equivalent to 100. So this works with any other tool that requires opacity, right? So even if you're on the clone stamp tool or the pattern stamp tool, whatever it is, as long as it requires opacity, this works for it also. Next is going to be how to adjust tool flow. The same way you have opacity here, you have flow here. You can use shift 1 to 0 to do it. So shift 1 is for flow 10, shift 0 is for flow 100. So you can do shift 3 for flow 30, shift 5 for flow 50, and just like that. Next is going to be how to create a new layer with a dialog box. You do that with Ctrl Shift N. When you press Ctrl Shift N, you are creating a new layer with a dialog box. Then next, we are going to do creating a new layer without a dialog box. That's Ctrl Alt Shift N. It's going to create a new layer automatically without a dialog box. Next will be Ctrl Shift C. If you're working with several layers and you need to copy the entire project on your clipboard, simply press these keys, Ctrl Shift C. Now you will get a merged copy of the file sent to your clipboard, which you can then paste into a new layer. Now you must note that the command only works if you first make a selection of the image, right? So you can use Ctrl A, right, to select everything, and then you will not get a copy of it, or you will get nothing. Let me say that I draw this, and I also have a text. I have a text that says hello. Okay. Right, and I want to copy all of this. All I just need to do is to press Ctrl A first of all to select everything. You can see the matching ants moving around, and then I will now press my shortcut Ctrl Shift C. Once I do that, I've copied this, and I can now paste. I can press Ctrl V, and you see I've pasted this image again here. I can hide everything here, and this image is here, a merged copy of the whole image itself. So that is how to do that. I'm just going to press delete to delete that. Next is Ctrl J. Ctrl J is used to duplicate a layer. So just press Ctrl J. Once you have the layer selected, press Ctrl J and it's duplicated. So currently my hello is 2 now because I pressed Ctrl J on it. Next is going to be this how to stamp all visible layers with Ctrl Shift E. Ctrl Shift E. This command will copy all visible layers, merge them, and add them as a new layer on your layer stack. So it's basically the same as copy copy merge command, just that it places the copy directly on the layer stack. So if I just say Control Shift E, it merges everything, right, and puts it on the same place. So the first one we did, put it on your clipboard so you can paste it anywhere. This one merges everything and put it on the same layer stack that you are on. I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo that. The next is how to group layers. This command is Ctrl G. Ctrl G is used to group layers. This command groups selected layers under a single folder, which you can even rename. In my experience, this is very handy when you're working with a lot of different layers that you will need to keep organized. Just select the layers that you want and then press Ctrl G, and both of them are going to be put into one group that you can even rename if you like. The next is going to be Shift Click. That is how to enable or disable the layer mask. So let's say you have a layer here with a layer mask on it and you want to disable the layer mask. You can just hold Shift and click on the layer mask to disable the layer mask. Next is going to be Ctrl A. I think I've shown you that before. Is to select all. That is to select all, to select the entire canvas. So Ctrl A, select everything on your screen. See, we have a matching ant everywhere because we pressed Ctrl A. Next is going to be to hide selection lines. This selection, for instance, now we have a selection made and we want to hide the lines. We can use Ctrl H to hide it. If you press Ctrl H, our selection is still there, but we've hidden it for now. If you press Ctrl H again, it will appear. Now this is also used if you have guides, right? You can press Ctrl H to hide it and all of that. Everything is still there. Just hid it for a moment. I'm going to remove this. Next, we're going to see how to invert selection. You can invert selection by Ctrl Shift I. Ctrl Shift I. So if I make a selection, let's say I use the marquee tool to make a selection here. Let me select this and make a selection here. I can select the inverse of this. In other words, select every other thing apart from this place. How do I do that? Ctrl Shift I. As you can see, every other place selected except this box. You can see there's now a line above here, and this now is subtraction. There's nothing selected here. Next, we are going to see how to deselect current selection. You can do that by using Ctrl D. Now we have a selection, so press Ctrl D to deselect it. And next, we're going to see how to reselect. Right? These selection shortcuts are going to come in very handy for you. So how to reselect the last selection? You can do Ctrl Shift D. So Ctrl D to deselect, Ctrl Shift D to reselect it again. Right? Okay, now I think that should be it. There is one I did not show us that I think I should really mention. That would be V. V, that is the move tool. So to go back to the move tool at any time, press V. That is the pointer tool and all of that. So everybody should know that one. You will always use it, right? So always know that. And we'll press Ctrl D again to remove this selection. I told you when I was starting, I'm going to give you one special one, right? I'm going to show you a way to bring up all Photoshop shortcuts if you want to see them. You know, sometimes you might think, what if I forget all of this? How will I be able to remember all of these things? You don't have to be worried. I'm going to show you one shortcut that can bring up all these shortcuts. You can check it out anytime you want, a list of all of them. So you can do Ctrl Alt Shift K to bring it up. Now that is it. This is all Photoshop shortcuts for the file. You can come here and see all of them. Everything you need to know about shortcuts on Photoshop are found here. Edits, you can do it here. You can see it here and all of that. So that is basically it. I know this is a handful. There are too many shortcuts to master. But what I'm going to tell you is to start with a few that you need the most, right? Start with the ones that you need the most. Don't even try to memorize too much. Just start with the ones that you need the most. Start working with them and then keep on adding others. Keep on adding the others. Hopefully this is going to be very, very helpful to you in your work. And I'm very happy that you've learned this from me. If you like this video and if you got any value from it, I encourage you to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to get notified whenever I release my next video. Thank you very much for following this tutorial. Happy designing.